On this edition, I'm going to do my UFC 148 predictions. So I'm just going to start. I mean, there's a lot of picks. I've been trying to do the prelim fights, but I'm just going to do the main card fights for this particular video. So UFC 148 is obviously headlining Silva Sonnen 2, the biggest rematch in UFC recent history, or just one of the biggest ones in UFC history. So there's a lot of good fights too. This card's changed quite a bit, obviously with Cruz and Faber not being on it, some other fights being taken off, but still I'd say that this is a very entertaining card. It's definitely going to deliver compared to some of the other cards that we've seen recently. So I'm just going to get right into it. I'd say that the first fight that I'm going to do is going to be Ivan Menjivar versus Mike Easton. Now, this should be an exciting fight. You have two guys who are very well-balanced fighters. Obviously, Menjivar is one of the top contenders in the respective division, but one of the top contenders, not the top contender, one of the top contenders. And Mike Easton's a big-name prospect. He's got very skilled stand-up. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I believe he's black belt in Taekwondo. Very good stand-up. He knows how to finish fights. He can do it both standing up and on the ground. And he's a tough guy, too. He's only been finished once. It was a TKO that was due to injury. So Easton's a tough guy. He's very hard on the ground to fight. He's a tough stand-up fighter. But then you have Ivan Menjivar. He's training a TriStar. He's got a very underrated ground game, being that he has a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he knows how to finish fights on the ground. He's very underrated. Good stand. He's got really good power in his hands. Both guys know how to finish fights. But where my prediction lies in this fight, I'm going to have to go with the veteran in this one. I went with prospects in my last prediction video, and that did not pan out well for me. Watch the prospects do well in this particular card, but I'm going to go with Ivan Menjivar. I'm going to say that he tests Mike Easton. He really drags him. I don't want to say deep waters, but he's going to test the kid, and I think Ivan Menjivar is either going to win this fight by submission or knockout. That's just how I see this one going. Ivan Menjivar, in my opinion, is the better fighter in this fight. So I'll take Ivan Menjivar via submission or knockout. The next fight is Chad Mendes versus Cote McKenzie, and you know, I quite frankly, obviously Chad Mendes is coming off a title fight with Jose Aldo, and you know, I personally don't see this matchup. I think Cote McKenzie still has a lot of work to do to get up to the top part of the division. Obviously, dropping down from lightweight is you know, only going to help him, being that he is a pretty tall and lanky guy. We all know Cote McKenzie. I think Cote McKenzie is a very one-dimensional fighter, in my honest opinion. He's a guy, his go-to move is the guillotine choke, and he knows how to do it to a T. If he was to get an A+ in anything that is a part of his game, it is the guillotine choke. If you get caught in there, you're done. That's what he does. If he locks you in the guillotine, you will be submitted. We've seen it time and time again. However, he's facing a guy like Chad Mendes, and Chad Mendes is obviously training at Alpha Male. He's a top contender. He did lose to Jose Aldo. But, you know, I believe Chad Mendes is a great fighter. I think he's a better fighter on all levels against Cote McKenzie. I think his wrestling is going to be the biggest part of this fight, and I think he's going to wear out Cote McKenzie. If he gets Cote McKenzie on his back, I either see him... Cote McKenzie's a tough guy. He's never been knocked out, but he's been submitted twice. I see this fight either going to decision in favor of Chad Mendes. However, what I see it coming down to, I think Chad Mendes is going to wear down Cote McKenzie. I see him getting Cote McKenzie in a rear naked choke and finishing this fight via submission. I just see Chad Mendes' wrestling overpowering Cote McKenzie, but I see Cote McKenzie going for broke with the guillotine. I don't see him getting in this fight. So I'll take Chad Mendes by decision or submission in this fight. The next fight is Dong Hyun Kim versus Damian Maia. Now, Dong Hyun Kim hasn't fought since I don't want to say quite some time, but he hasn't fought in a while. Obviously, we all remember one of his last fights, not the last, but one of his last fights against Carlos Condit. He was derailed. He got absolutely destroyed in that fight with that flying knee. Got knocked out cold by Carlos Condit, who is now the interim champion in the division. And then you have Damian Maia. Damian Maia, as soon as he continues to put it all together, it's been lackluster lately. You don't know what you're going to get from Damian Maia. You know if it goes down to the ground, he is so good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's trying to embrace his hands now. And his boxing is getting better. His hands are getting better. He's learning his striking and his stand-up game better. But in this fight, what I see it coming to, I think Dong Hyun Kim, if this one stays standing, I think Dong Hyun Kim and Maia are going to battle it out. But I see Dong Hyun Kim being the better stand-up striker in this fight with his kickboxing background. I see him picking his spots and finding the openings. And if it goes down to the ground, I think Kim could definitely implement his ground and pound. And if Maia's to win this fight, it's by submission. That's the only way I see this one happening, especially with his guard. But I think Dong Hyun Kim will fight off the submissions. He's never been submitted before. He's got very good submission defense. But it's tough when you go against a guy with a tricky guard like Damian Maia. However, I see Dong Hyun Kim taking this one to decision and winning this fight via split decision. It'll be a very close fight, but I think Dong Hyun Kim's better in the stand-up department. If he can get down to the ground, he'll do the ground and pound. He won't get submitted by Maia. But if Maia's to win, it's by submission. So the next fight is Patrick Cote versus Cung, and this is one of my picks for fight of the night. You have two incredible stand-up fighters. Obviously, this is Cote's debut back in the UFC. Not his debut. He's been in the UFC before, but he's coming back into the UFC. Obviously, he's filling in Rich Franklin was supposed to fight Cung Le. Cung Le, coming off his loss from Tito Ortiz, you know what to get from Cung Le. His stand-up is just absolutely deadly. His leg kicks, he defines dynamic striker. The guy changes levels. His counter-striking with his hands are good, and his leg kicks, if he catches with them, I mean, he works the body, his spinning back kick, I mean, just everything. The possibilities are endless. And Cung Le finishes fights. All his fights have come via knockout. However, he has a questionable chin. He has been finished before. And he is a little bit up there in the age, and I absolutely love Cung Le. He's one of my favorite fighters. The guy always puts on entertaining fights. And Patrick Cote, very good boxing, Muay Thai. He's not the better wrestler in this fight, given the Cung Le's skilled wrestling background, especially in high school and college. And Cote's got a very good chin. The guy's never been finished before, at least knocked out. He's been TKO'd due to injury, but that's about it. Cote has a very good stamp. He's got good boxing. He's an aggressive striker. Where I see this one coming down to, I think Cung Le is definitely going to land his strikes. It's going to be a high-octane fight. But I see Patrick Cote being aggressive, using his hands, getting inside Cung Le's kicks, and finishing this fight either via TKO or knockout. Hopefully we get to see Cung Le back in the octagon soon, because I absolutely love watching Cung Le fight. Never in a boring fight, and this will definitely be a potential fight of the night. The next fight is Forrest Griffin versus Tito Ortiz. This is obviously the trilogy between these two, but it's a split. And obviously with Tito Ortiz, you get very skilled wrestling, good submission defense, good power in his hands, but a little slow. Both guys are up there in age. And you know what to get from Tito Ortiz. He's gonna try and stand up with you. He's gonna try and get you down the ground. He's gonna ground and pound. He's gonna beat you down. Then he's facing Forrest Griffin, very serviceable stand up. He's got good power in his hands. He knows how to pick his spots. He's a little slow in the stand up department too, and he's serviceable in the wrestling department. But if Tito is to be successful in this fight, it's to get him down. He's to ground and pound Forrest Griffin, but. Forrest Griffin is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's definitely a skilled fighter off his back, but I think if Forrest to be successful in this fight, to keep his sanity. He's a better striker than Tito Ortiz. And where I see this one coming down to, I mean, I think Tito is going to get Forrest down to the ground, but I think when it comes down to it, it's going to be another close fight, just like all the other fights have been. I'm going to take Forrest Griffin winning this fight via split decision. If he could keep this standing, keep it off the ground. If Tito gets down the ground, he's going to have his way with Forrest. He could very well TKO the guy on the ground, but I'm going to take Forrest Griffin via split decision. And then you get your main event, Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen, the rematch. And this fight is just, I mean, given what has happened today between the conference call, Anderson Silva has got this new lit fire under him. I mean, not even new lit. I mean, we know what Anderson Silva is capable of. One of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. It's a mixed martial artist versus a fighter. Chael Sonnen is a fighter. But Anderson Silva has accomplished undefeated in the UFC. Long-time defending champion in the middleweight division. One of the best pure strikers in mixed martial arts. He knows how to finish fights. He has the wow factor. He could finish fights in the blink of an eye. He's deadly and dangerous at any point of it. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's a big hole in Chael Sonnen's game. But the biggest hole in Anderson Silva's game is his wrestling. Then you have Chael Sonnen, one of the best wrestlers in MMA. Guy is very fast for the division. He's got good hand speed. He is a serviceable stand-up fighter. I don't see if this one stays standing. I think Anderson Silva will find his ways. I think if Anderson Silva is successful, I think with the front kick, with his knees, obviously with submissions, I think in order to defeat Chael Sonnen, he's got to finish Chael Sonnen. Cannot go to decision. Chael Sonnen will win if it goes to decision. However, if Chael Sonnen is successful, he's got to set up his takedowns. He's got to work Anderson Silva near the cage. He's got to get him down the ground. He's got to beat him down in the ground and pound. And however, training with Vinny Magalhães has done good things for Chael Sonnen. I'm not saying it's the main reason why or if he wins this fight, but I think it's been his Achilles heel. He's been submitted countless times in his career, and training with one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the game itself. Vinny Magalhães is an outstanding Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I think this will help raise Chael's awareness. And where my prediction lies in this is, there's no doubt, if Anderson Silva's to win this fight, it's either by knockout or submission. He's got to finish Chael. If he gets the decision, he's not going to win. And where Chael Sonnen wins this fight, he could very well come out and submit Anderson Silva. It is a long shot, absolute long shot, but he could very well come out and try and submit Anderson Silva. Or he gets this one to decision, takes Anderson Silva in the deep water, beats him down, and wins this fight by decision. So where my prediction lies, I'm going to take Chael Sonnen winning this fight by decision or by a long shot submission. So I'm going to take the underdog in this fight and say that there's a new crown middleweight champion. So my picks, I'm going to take Chael Sonnen by decision or submission. I'm going to take Forrest Griffin by unanimous decision. I'm going to take Patrick Cote by TKO or knockout. I'm going to take Dong Yong Kim by decision. I'm going to take Chad Mendes by submission or decision. And I'm going to take Ivan Menjivar by knockout or TKO. And that's what I have for this edition. It's Kyle Delaney signing off. I'm out of here.